Today's guest is Ahmad Abu Zannad, a strategist who built his career on understanding people before understanding markets. He reads human behavior, turns it into insight, and shapes communication that actually matters. The study of psychology, a field he deeply admires, helps us understand the software of humans. Ahmad brings that understanding into culture, creativity, and how people truly live. He's also an author of a rich body of work, a book on the Saudi market, another book on the advertising industry, Ad Man versus Chomsky, the scripts she never wrote, which I really enjoyed reading, and his upcoming release, Westernized by the Ad. One of Ahmad's defining perspectives appears in this quote: "Psychology studies what breaks us. Advertising studies what lifts us. Psychology repairs damaged brains. Advertising upgrades joyful ones." On A City Witnessed, we explore cities through the people who shaped them, and Ahmad is one of the rare minds who shaped how brands speak to the region and beyond by starting with something simple: being human first. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from wherever you're actually watching us from, or actually even if you're listening. Today is very special for me. Reason is we're having a new look for our Dubai Witnessed episodes, hoping that we'll do that to the other cities as well in the very near future. It's our first time to actually shoot in a studio, and it happened because of a dear friend who actually made me do it, who's happening to be my guest today. So today with us, I have Ahmad Abu Zannad. He is probably, if you want me to give a quick introduction about him, the best way to describe Ahmad would be he's a very accomplished author, and he is a strategist. He is someone who's so into human behaviors and psychology. He was really recognized multiple times, and he was very young at that age, actually. His books have been also, I would say, awarded multiple times. And there's a lot into what he's trying to do in the space of marketing and in the space of, I would say, advertising. One thing that's so special about Ahmad is that he really has been connected a lot recently towards a topic related to happiness. We're in a place where we're trying to be happy. And this is a city where happiness is really happening. To an extent, we even have like a ministry of happiness, right? That's a context that we need to bring forward as we're discussing. So before I move forward in a lot of discussions and questions that I will be asking Ahmad, maybe we start by saying, Ahmad, how are you today?
Good, very good.
Thank you for coming. Happy. Yes, thank you for coming and joining us today. And thank you for pushing me to make this happen.
Yeah.
Where currently we're actually recording in a studio.
If we are to talk happiness in the city of happiness, and hopefully I am equipped enough to talk happiness.
Well, I'm looking forward to this conversation, actually. And that would take me maybe to understanding better, connecting better with the context of happiness that you actually brought up.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to come to your books in a minute. I have a few insights that I'd like to learn more. And they're also very connected to the topic of happiness. Maybe the question would be, what is it with happiness that you're trying to better understand or explore? Tell us a little bit more about that.
So let's start with the understanding of happiness. So before you understand happiness, you have to understand the human psyche. So there are so many studies and so many fields that attempt to understand the human psyche. Right. Psychology, anthropology, sociology, and most recently neuroscience, which is no longer theory. Functional MRI broke down the human brain, and we really know happiness. So happiness is not a feeling. Happiness individually is a software. And like any software, you can program and reprogram. To know the software of happiness, you need to know 4 names. And I will try to make it as simple as possible.
Yeah. Please.
The first name is a Nobel Prize winner called Daniel Kahneman, the author of the book Thinking Fast and Slow. He said that you have 2 brains, the experiencing brain and the remembering brain. And in happiness, this is experiential happiness and formative happiness. Experiential happiness is being happy in the experience, in the here and now. Formative happiness, the remembering brain, for it to be happy, is when you're thinking slow, when you're reflecting and thinking, am I happy about my life? So I'm happy in my life, in what I'm doing right now, and I'm happy about my life. And happy about my life is a story you tell yourself. So this is Daniel Kahneman broke it down to 2 softwares, like computer, RAM and ROM. So now you need to understand how the experiential happy works. So the experiential happy in the here and now takes us to the second name. The second name is Milai. His family name is very hard. Minshan Henhai.
Okay.
He told us that experiential happiness, you really need to know the difference between pleasure and enjoyment. We think we are seeking pleasure. Pleasure is something not guaranteed, very momentary, it's a peak moment. Enjoyment is something that we can really achieve and always seek to achieve. Enjoyment, he said, lies at the boundaries between boredom and anxiety.
Okay.
So when you come at a task, you come at a task with an ability. If your ability is below the task will make you anxious. If the ability is above the task will make you bored. So if I apply this to a student or an employee, the topic the student is studying or the task an employee is overtaking, if the task is beyond their ability, they will be bored. If the task is above their ability, they will be anxious.
Okay.
Hence, half of your students and employees are either bored and uninterested, and the other half are anxious and very angry.
Okay.
And then they will seek enjoyment. Who understood this software? Video game developers.
Okay.
If you read a book called Hooked,
okay,
they always make sure whatever you're playing is neither boring nor beyond your ability to make you anxious. So enjoyment is all about this. Easier said than done,
Yes.
because you could be enjoying your everyday, but you will not be happy about your life because your formative happy, your remembering brain also needs to be happy.
Okay.
So you need to be studying something or working at something where the daily task is something of value, where it's adding every day you do the task, and the formative happy is happy where it's going.
I hear you.
So the secret here is ability. The more capable you are of conducting a task of value,
okay,
the more you are enjoying something that is every day you are enjoying, but formative happy you is happy. Which takes us to the software of formative happiness.
Okay.
Formative happy is the story you tell yourself and how you look towards the future. How the story you tell yourself, how do you do it? This takes us to the third name, Dan Gilbert.
Okay.
Dan Gilbert told you there's something called synthetic happiness.
Okay.
He told you happiness is not what actually took place. Happiness is not what actually happened to you. The way you remember, there is the remembering brain, and there is something called the memory illusion.
Okay.
So you decide how you remember things. Okay? And synthetic happiness is how you decide you remember. And he always tells 3 stories that are evidence of how you remember is how happy you are. This is synthetic happiness. The first story is of someone called Maurice Beckham. Not David Beckham, but David Beckham is very happy, very lucky. Maurice Beckham is unlucky but happy.
Okay.
Maurice Beckham was innocent but found guilty, and he was imprisoned for 37 years.
Yes.
And then with DNA, he was found innocent. He was very happy, and he said it was a glorious experience. His brain activated something called the psychological immune system.
Okay.
Psychological immune system, we all have it, regardless of it. What happened to him was so shocking that he denied it altogether. But it happens when a mother, God forbid, loses a child. She has a story in mind. He's in heaven, or he didn't really die, or something of sort. So there's always a story you tell yourself. So Maurice Beckham is not crazy. He had to survive. He told himself this story.
Okay.
The second story is someone called Pete Best.
Okay.
Pete Best was the drummer with the Beatles before the Beatles were famous. Imagine. Because he's moody, he just left. In comes Ringo Starr. Not really talented. Any drummer who's good enough behind, behind John Lennon and Paul McCartney and George Harrison would have done it. So Pete Best lived all his life. Whenever he talks music, all people around him will tell me, you idiot, look at the Ringo Starr. And Ringo Starr is annoying the shit out of him, all his life. Pete Best said, I am so happy I did not stay with the Beatles. Their life is so, messy, and they're always busy. I am happy. And he was actually happy. So you'll think these two are idiots, right? Which brings us to the third name, Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs really cracked this because he is smart enough and aware enough. In the 80s, when Steve Jobs found Apple and Apple was up and coming, he hired John Scully. John Scully was the CEO of Pepsi back then.
Okay.
And Pepsi was making it against Coca-Cola as a marketing machine. That was the voice of a new generation and what have you. So he thought, I need a CEO who thinks marketing. Back then, Steve Jobs told John Scully, do you want to sell fizzy water for the rest of your life, or do you want to join Apple and change the world with me? John Scully had a connection with the board and did not, see eye to eye with Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs wanted to launch MacBook, very expensive. Anyway, John Scully ended up, working around and backstabbing Steve Jobs. And Steve Jobs was fired, completely fired from Apple, forbidden to go to Apple. This is late 80s. Any other founder is miserable, right? Cut to 2005. Steve Jobs is giving a speech to Stanford University, and he is saying, life is all about connecting the dots backwards. And he started connecting the dots of his life backwards.
Meaning?
It could have been miserable. This guy is abandoned by his parents, adopted by his original father is Syrian, adopted. His parents had no money. And the only way for him to go to university is they told him, go to a good, reputable university that is affordable. The idiot went to an expensive university that has no value and no reputation, just an overpriced one. I don't remember what it is. And he stayed on the couch and attended stupid animation classes and dropped out. See this story? And then found this Apple and got fired. He was sitting in a meeting with a bunch of animators. In that meeting, he was connecting the dots backwards and thinking, that stupid class that I used to attend in animation, it's just registered here. He connected the dots backwards thinking, there is a reason. Because Steve Jobs is aware, he's always thinking, I am here today, connecting dots and thinking, because I'm lucky, because I'm Steve Jobs, because life is working for me, I'm here for a reason. So he's like, there's a reason for this. He took the meeting. In that meeting, he put $50 million in Pixar. Pixar kills it. Disney buys Pixar. Apple comes back. Comes back to Apple. Apple explodes. So it's all about connecting the dots backwards. This is synthetic happiness. So Dan Gilbert tells you happiness is not what actually happened to you. It's the story you tell yourself and you tell others.
Very interesting.
Which takes us also to how you look towards the future, which is the fourth name, Tali Sharot. Tali Sharot told you that it's all about happiness is about how you look towards the future. And when you look towards the future, you look towards it with something in your brain, a cognitive bias called optimism bias. 80% of humans look towards the future with optimism bias. So optimism means that when you look towards the future, you think the future is better than today or yesterday. So the future is better than your present and your past. When it comes with a bias, then you remove all logic and you have a bias towards the future for yourself. So in the future, you're going to be more active. In the future, you're going to join the gym and you're going to be so much disciplined. You're going to be so much more fun, right? The future you is much more luckier than you.
Correct.
So this has a evolutionary historical past. We are among the few species that can mental travel in our brain. So when we evolved the ability to mentally travel, so to worry about the future and reminisce about the past, this coincides with the awareness of our own mortality. So if your own neighbor suddenly passed away and she is your age, your health conditions, you had to tell yourself what happened to her will not happen to me. This is one extreme example, but you're always saying this is why we go by, this is why we have children, this is why we have second marriages and third marriages and what have you. So all of this is a software. If I reprogram it, if I back to Tali Sharot and optimism bias. So she tells you the way you foresee the future affects your well-being now. And it affects your ability to perform now. So 2 studies. One study is sit and think about the future positively and sit and think about the future negatively. And they are testing your brain. It's functional MRI. You're activating, unhappy regions of the brain. Then a second study where they told students before conducting a test, you're an idiot, you're an idiot, you're an idiot. And a second group of students, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart.
Yeah.
So they're going to the test with affirmation, positive, negative. And they saw the brain, these people did worse than these people. They wanted to know why. So they had them do the test with functional MRI. So for example, if I'm told I'm smart and I get one question wrong, what I do is, because I'm smart, I must get the second one right. So I am more focused. Because I'm an idiot and I got one wrong, such an idiot, I'm gonna miss the other one too. So it's affirming. Or if I get one right, I'm an idiot, I got one right, so most probably I'm gonna get the second one right. This eventually will brings us back to advertising, but let's now talk about happiness as a software. Okay.
Before we get to that, let me quickly recap a few things. Yeah. So I hear from you a few elements that we can take away. One is stay always in the context of everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Looking backwards is a positive perspective because it would give you the chance to better understand where you want to go.
Yes.
Future outlook is something that's hopeful.
Yes.
We should always bring that hopefulness because it will take us to a more positive perspective.
Yes.
And the second piece, as much as the example was someone being smart, the other is not, at least in the context of that example, uplifting people.
Yes.
And praising others, no matter who they are, is a very beautiful trait and behavior that we need to practice because it gives people the chance to not get stuck in the wrongs. Not that wrong is wrong. Wrong is good if it teaches you, but not to keep it in that stage, in the sense. So now those are the takeaways I take from what you said.
And I will build on the fourth one, because it's very interesting what Tali Sharit has revealed for us on optimism bias and how we look towards the future. Because there's more happiness in anticipation than realization. Okay? I'll tell you a couple of studies. So on vacation.
Yes.
On vacation, they studied the peaks of, where happiness, where let's say the peak dopamine. Anticipating the vacation is where you are happiest. The first day, it's the first experiences of everything. When they ask people, what made you the happiest? They said the first. The first time I saw the room, the first time I saw the ocean view, the first time we tried this. And then any second time is realization. It's normal. And then you have something called peak end bias.
Okay.
Which takes us to the remembering brain. At the peak end, how did you decide to remember?
Okay.
So there's always the story of, I enjoyed 3 hours of amazing opera. In the end, there's this noise that ruined the entire experience for me. So what does it mean, ruin the entire experience? Because the experiencing brain doesn't register. Only the remembering brain registers. So this is called peak end bias. If at the end you decided anything you experienced, regardless of how much happy it was, at the peak end you decided to remember it negatively, it's gone.
Okay.
Why do you go on vacation? For memories, not for experiences. They will not remember the experience. They will remember remembering the experience.
Very good point.
And another study she did. So her conclusion is, do more vacations, less frequent, so that you have more anticipation, more peak end.
Interesting.
At the end of the year, if you're going on vacation for happiness, it's more vacations, less frequent. This 1 month vacation, eventually the realization will come to it.
Interesting.
Okay. Another study she did, you were gonna love this. They asked students if you're gonna get a kiss from a celebrity. How far you want to, by when do you want it, and how much are you willing to pay? If you get it now, if you get it in an hour, if you get it in 2 days, in 3 weeks, in 2 years.
Okay.
Guess which one did they pay the most?
Which one?
2 days.
Okay. Because of the anticipation.
They wanted 2 days of telling their friends, seeing their pictures, feeling how it's gonna be.
Okay.
Studies show that in any country where the weekend is Saturday, Sunday, people are happier on Friday than Sunday. Because Friday, there is the anticipation of the weekend. Saturday, Sunday, it's the realization.
Okay.
So if it's software, she tells you, you need to, when you look towards the future, have a plan, a project, an idea that makes the future something to look forward to.
Okay.
And when experiential you is doing something, it feels that it's going there.
Okay.
Now, which takes us to the issue of formative happiness, the definition of your story is happy and where you're going is happy. This formative happiness is defined. And often not defined by you. It's defined by culture, by society. What makes a Jordanian woman at 45 happy and satisfied is, number of children or an amount of money. So
Whatever.
this is not you. This is someone defined it for you. And you need to be aware enough to say this kind of pressure is maybe not for me. So if I conclude, Daniel Kahneman said it's an identity.
Okay.
Be it experiential happy you, happy or happy, and you program your life as a miserable person. You will connect the dots all as a miserable person. Program it as a happy, lucky person like Steve Jobs. You will program it this way. Dan Gilbert said happiness is not what actually took place. It's not actually the reality of it. It's the story you tell, and you narrate it well, narrate it positively. You are happy.
Yes.
Third is what we said. Daniel Gilbert is the second. Who was the third? Come with me.
I can't.
We said optimism bias is towards the future. The second is enjoyment. Sorry.
Okay.
So Dan Gilbert was the third, which is how do you remember. The second is enjoyment.
Okay.
Daniel Kahneman said happiness is an identity.
Okay.
So identify as a happy person. Then happiness is the experiencing brain and the remembering brain. If the remembering brain remembers in the identity for a happy person, then you will program all the dots as a happy person. You will say this took place for a happy person. The second person talked about the experiencing brain. What is experiential happiness? And he said there's a distinction between pleasure and enjoyment. فكينا من pleasure. Pleasure is peak and what have you, ecstasy and all of that. Enjoyment is at the boundary between boredom and anxiety. So he said, seek that. It's something even Bilal Zahabi, the trainer of GSP, talked about. And whenever you're training, you need to think about it. It's called flow channel. When your challenge is at the task, you reach a flow channel. You really enjoy it. And with time, you start upskilling yourself because there's so much joy in it. People underestimate this. If you enjoy your daily tasks and you start upskilling, suddenly you are enjoying something that makes you, a lot of money. Which takes us to the third one. Regardless of it, Dan Gilbert told you, happiness is not what actually took place. Happiness is the story you narrate. This is very important because you go through transformations in your life. And every now and then you transform, and there are people from the old story who will drag you down. You might not want them in your life. You need a new story, you narrate it, you bring them and you tell them, this is the new me, believe it, are you on board or not?
That's an interesting one.
Which takes us to the fourth one. You also need to look towards the future. You have optimism bias that to look towards the future positively. Okay. So this is the software of us as individuals. Okay. If we are as individuals, this is what makes us happy. Then as a society, a happy society is not the number of smiles. It's not a KPI. It's not money. How much money do they have? It's a design system that we can design. And, we studied happy societies throughout human entire history. And we found a pattern, anthropologists and sociologists and what have you, a pattern of 3 factors that made a society a happier society.
What are these?
These 3 factors are not really money. They are life manageability. And what makes life manageable is very relative to the time and place. But manageability, not luxury, but it's manageable. Second is the story this society told itself about its history, about its pride, about its ancestors and what have you. And there is what's called a collective hope. They all agree that the future is going to be better. Somehow they have a story where the future is going to be better. Throughout history, when these societies were small societies, the manageability of life was nature and hardship. But regardless of nature and hardship, stories about their past and their ancestors and where the future is going were controlled, and contained within the art, culture, the storytellers, the elders, the preachers of that society. And we see 2 different societies. The manageability of life, nature and hardship, the resources for both societies are the same. But one was cultured. One, somehow, their culture is happy, positive, nice folklore, nice music, and they talk about the same resources. This one, they're dry. They don't want to talk about it. They don't believe in storytelling and what have you. This is happy. This is not happy. In Second World War, in Japan and in Germany, different villages, their interpretation and their story of how they were defeated, one told this time to rebuild and they were very, very inspired. They ended up being happier. And one told, we lost our dignity. There's no future for us. This is the story contained within society. Now, with the Industrial Revolution, the manageability of life became industrialized.
True.
It's not nature and hardship of a group of people. It's industry. And it's a free market industry. So who is taking care of our manageability? It's this industry that is global. So, okay, I want to tell, and this industry cannot just tell us, we are doing amazing technology, amazing innovations, be happy. This industry who is taking care of our present with amazing innovations and solving our everyday problems and telling us the future is bright with brighter technology needs to be told within an amazing story. So if it's industry and the story is bigger than the clan and bigger than folklore, who tells this story? Advertising. With the industrialization of everything, in comes the industrialization of this story. Now, if advertising believes that happiness is a design system and this story needs to be convincing, needs to be relevant, not a lie, but it's a story that makes people happy, then I believe and I aspire for this good kind of advertising where there is a utopia, where industry is really fixing and the manageability of life with products and innovations and services that fix solutions. But these solutions and products are told through brands with stories that uplift people.
Back to your quote.
Which you'll think I'm crazy.
I'm not, but there's a quote you have, which I like. We can.
But this utopia took place in one period of time. Yeah. And I want to go back to that. We always say that the US is the happiest country. Not today. Okay. There was a moment in time when the US was really the happiest country. This period of time is from 1945 to 1972.
Okay.
One, the industry in the US was really fixing everyday problems. But the stories of these solutions were told through advertising that was uplifting. This is what we call the golden age of advertising. The founders were philosophers. Leo Burnett, Bill Bernbach, David Ogilvy. They understood the bigger role they had to play in the lives of people. They understood that they're not just selling, detergents and what have you. This brings us to the cultural identity that these campaigns had. So for that time and place, the solution was there. So life was manageable, but a society that had a story told through beautiful, happy, uplifting advertising that told them we are happy, we are proud, and the future was proud. Hence, a society will be happy when the engineers. The innovators innovate, but the artists, the storytellers tell beautiful, uplifting stories. And the two needs to coexist. Today, the US is not happy because the engineer no longer believes in the storyteller. So Elon Musk is not telling the story of Tesla in a beautiful way. Steve Jobs will tell the Apple story. And the creators are no longer innovating. So they're using creativity as a shortcut to whatever is missing in the product. This is how they launch a new iPhone without much innovation.
That's your thinking.
But speaking of a happy society,
I was going to get there.
Being in the city of happiness, think about it. Life is so manageable. But you have a government who wants to tell you the future is bright, and they want creative people, creative storytellers to talk about it. Hence, the Dubai media office was in Cannes, a festival of creativity, because they want to tell the story of us creatively.
Nicely. And everyone who's here actually wants the same. And that's the community piece that you brought earlier when you said it's just having also everyone contribute to that thinking. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see a lot of community members in Dubai are genuinely part of a lot of these initiatives that happen
Exactly.
to be. And that takes me back to one perspective from everything you shared. You have a huge connection towards, I would say, culture.
Yes.
And for me, like, this is a viewpoint I would like to unwrap a little bit, because I feel there's your secret as a marketer in that context, right? You really understand the marketing, but you have this view, and you view around, it's hugely connected to culture and identity. Maybe we're missing that as individuals, as consumers, as communities. Do you believe that the way we're selling our own identity to our children is happening the right way? And why should we be careful in that particular sales pitch?
It's a disaster. We are going through a cultural crisis.
Why are you saying that? Tell me more.
So I'll tell you one extreme group of people.
Okay.
And then I'll come back to how we are the other extreme.
Okay.
There is a group of people who left India 13,000 years ago because they were at the bottom of the social class.
Okay.
This group of people have lived and experienced 13,000 years of up and down revolutions. They lived in Persia, they lived in Europe, they lived in France, they lived in US, they lived in Mexico, and they never integrated. They managed to hold their one cultural identity, be it good or bad, because they managed to do one thing. Women at the age of 13, when she gets married, she disengages from society.
Okay,
so she doesn't know anything about that society. These are the gypsies.
Okay.
Hence, the gypsies, wherever they go, they remain gypsies. They integrate but not integrate. They trade, but they remain gypsies. Something in the language, something in the dialect, something in the value system. This is too much. This is too much lack of integration. This is the bubble, which is an extreme.
True.
Okay, but when you control the mother and you tell the mother at home, don't integrate, the gypsy is born twice. One inside the home and one to the world. This is one extreme, when you're overprotective of what you have because of so many insecurities of what could happen. The other extreme is not knowing what to keep and what to leave, and you just take in the new identity as is, as if it is the solution.
I'm going to come to that also in one of my questions.
So today, after 1890 and after the industrialization of cities, people in industrialized cities had to, figure out new identities for themselves, because it's no longer the close clan where everyone knows you. So the way you signaled out devotion, the way you signaled out ambition, the way you signaled out love, commitment, and what have you, in the village, in the barn, in the desert, is so different from the industrial city where no one knows you. So it happened to that the West and Western cities are the first ones to identify what is identity and what is all of these signals in a westernized and in an industrialized city. We the East, the entire East, not only the Arab world, we were industrialized after them. The issue when they came back to us with these brands and these ready-made solutions, not only as a product, but as I was saying before, a product and a story for the product that resolves some sort of cultural tension. It came with a vantage point, a very important vantage point, a Western vantage point that takes us to 4,000 years of history on how Western civilization has been always documented. This is Herodotus, the father of history, from Athens and the Greek thinkers. Whenever he wrote Greek history and Western civilization history, it was always the West, the civilized, and everything else, the uncivilized. Democracy versus tyranny. Anything they do is we do it worse, and if we are doing it, we are either doing it inferior or wild, or it's always this. And then before mass communication, in comes what Edward Said calls Orientalism. So since 1840, with photography and what have you, they kept on insisting that this is how the world needs to see itself. The West, the solution, everything else needs to civilize to become Western. Okay? When we 1890, in comes these mass brands with mass
Yeah.
communication, so confident in this Western gaze and the Herodotus gaze at the world, that what you have, Arab women, is the uncivilized, and for you to be civilized, you need to listen to Pierce soap and you need to listen to what they are telling you. In the crisis that I'm telling you about, what you are telling your child is anything Western I give you is civilization. Anything you inherited is not civilization. Keep what is exotic. Keep what is what makes you fancy. A bit of harakat, you know, how you pour a coffee and how, what you eat. But the real deep value of what it is, we lost it. To be civilized is to have a Western gaze at the world.
And that takes me then to another point, because I like what you're saying here. Context is, yes, we see that there's a Western world and there's this tendency to access this information now. Everything is very visible. People tend to copy paste. Maybe that would be the way I would say it. And you're mentioning many times in most of your books the role of women or the role of mothers, which I really appreciate as a mother. And a lot of elements you've shared, I really read with attention, because I felt it talks to me very directly. So looking at then again the role of mothers, you said there are groups of people who even ended up being the ones who shield the culture, protect the culture, or shape the culture and change it. And here comes the role again of women and mothers in making this happen. We don't want people to copy paste. We want them still to integrate with this global world, but in a way that makes sense, in a way that keeps their identity, because identity matters. And that would be then for me the point that I'd like to ask. You said that to some extent we're losing our identity throughout that process, right? What is then your recommendation there? What needs to be done in order to find that I would say balance? Because we want to keep our culture, we want to keep our identity. And at the same time, we want to be able to, I'm not going to say fit in. For me, fit in means like there's something I just need to be there. It's more of inclusive. I just want to be there. I feel included to that, whatever it is, because then I matter there. My voice is part of whatever is happening there. Not just that I'm copy pasting something that happens to be for someone else. So what is your recommendation for the mothers who want to keep the identity, but still they want their kids and their family to be part of this new world that we're living?
So I'll give you 4 examples. Because we're talking about mothers. The first one is there's a campaign by Pierce Soap that connected cleanliness to social class.
Okay.
It resolved a tension for London in 1860. 1860 London, it was very industrial, so it was filthy. But there was a new kind of filth, germs that was not visible. The British were not known for taking showers. We were not a very clean society where we were very clean. So we invented soap from olive oil. We exported it to England, but they were not using it because it was harsh on the skin. British mothers will not clean if the dirt is not visible. So Pierce figured out that he cannot sell soap with information for the manageability. He had to tell a good story. So he figured that industrial London, they did not have enough signals from the village that are applicable to a city to signal out your social class. No one knew you. No one knew your background. Suddenly, cleanliness is connected to your class.
Interesting.
120 years of cleanliness is class. You have Arab mothers rubbing to show grace, to show. A bit of corona and cleanliness is also responsibility. 33% of Arab mothers have OCD.
Interesting. And you have these facts and you've researched.
So if soap was invented in our villages, and we did not have industrial filth, we did not have their germs, so our houses are okay to be messy, not dirty, messy. Now, this cleanliness of industrial London is not ours. So when you give your when you judge your neighbors on how clean and how spotless their surface is, this is something they inherited because they have germs. We did not have these germs. So don't give your children the obsessiveness of cleanliness and spotlessness of attention that is not ours. Which brings me to the second one. After the Great Depression, America was very depressed. Christmas was losing its spirit, and the US had different interpretation of what Christmas is and who is the saint of Christmas.
Okay.
So the Scottish had different saint, the French had a different saint, the Irish had a different saint. So suddenly no one is celebrating Christmas. Coke said they don't only want to sell a fizzy drink on the table. They want to bring back the cheerfulness of the season. So they brought in a great artist to illustrate Santa Claus, and red is the common theme. And they said it's okay for one night that is Christmas, regardless of how tough life is. They said to mothers, it's okay for one night, for the entire family to overspend, for you to put the extra effort because you are the mother, where life is tough, but you make life, for one night amazing at home. Okay? And it's okay to overspend. This initiated what we call today seasonal marketing.
Interesting.
We took seasonal marketing as a template, not taking into consideration the sensitivities of our seasons.
Interesting.
Suddenly, it's not Christmas one night, it's Ramadan 30 nights. The American mother who was told it's okay for one night for you to put the extra effort and make the table, we told the Arab mother it's okay for 30 nights to do it. Suddenly, for 30 nights, she's the orchestrator of this feast, but she's also the influencer taking the photos, and she is the social taker, of everyone.
Sure.
She leaves Ramadan, broken, depressed, and what have you. Today, don't mark my words, it's 60% or 55%. There's a data on from Turkey and Jeddah and Saudi. They leave Ramadan more fatter, and broke. It's not okay to leave Ramadan fatter.
True, it's a time where you should be actually fasting, and it has also spiritual reason why
because you copied it from Christmas. We have our Eid, which is for one day. 30 Ramadan is the privity.
Yeah.
Take a step back, which takes me to the third one.
Yeah.
In New York, in the 1930s, if a man wanted to convince a woman that he is serious about the relationship and he is committed and he is here to stay, she was unable to pronounce his family name.
Yeah.
So this takes me to a very interesting anthropological and evolutionary fact, something that have dazzled scientists throughout history. You're gonna like this. Every species and every society, every culture, the male, for the female to accept the male, to engage in a relationship, the male has to engage in what they call an elaborate public display. That makes no sense, that goes against his logic. So if you are smart, you act foolish. If you are not courageous, you act courageous. So every society had a very nice interpretation of how the male shows sacrifice, how the male bleed.
Yeah.
Sometimes they dance, sometimes they hunt, sometimes they fight, sometimes they wrestle. Recently, Mark Zuckerberg was on a onesie, jumping up and down. He has to act foolish to convince her that he is committed.
Yeah.
And every culture figured it out. In industrialized New York, different cultures coming together, the signal of I'm here to stay, how am I bleeding, was not there. The beers wanted to sell diamond rings. They were not selling enough diamond rings. Less than 10% of engagements had an engagement ring. There was no association to that. And no culture associated the engagement to a diamond engagement ring yet.
Yeah.
It's Francesca Greta, a copywriter. This is 100 years ago, less than 100 years ago. She's like, I understand this insight. That this man is not just buying a ring for engagement. He's showing bleed. He's bleeding. So the line, a diamond is forever, said 3 months salary shows that you have bled enough. But the forever part is he bought you something that is forever. His love is forever.
I get it.
Today, 90% of engagements have an engagement ring throughout the entire world. A culture like India, where it's all gold, mid-class Indian women are asking for a diamond ring in private. You know why?
Because it's just something they actually
No, because it's 90 years of communication, of indoctrination, that this is how you engage. Hollywood, influencers, Instagram. So the man has two types of pressure today. He has to impress her the way his culture impress. And then she wants in private the stupid proposal, and she wants to act surprised. But it doesn't work in her culture.
Yeah.
How are you acting surprised in a culture where you have been nagging on him to propose for 2 years?
So what you're saying
this is a cultural crisis.
So cultural crisis, again, we back to the same point. People try to copy things that are not aligning with their own culture.
It's going to take me to the fourth one, and most alarming part, beauty standards.
Okay, yes. I'd like to maybe refer to, because
the West is today struggling with their own beauty standards.
Yes.
So when L'Oreal in 1972 told the world, because you're worth it, and then Calvin Klein got us Brooke Shields and said, I have great genes. And then Dove in 2004 defined beauty as real beauty and got us not so good looking, average looking women, and suddenly told the world with Woke and what have you, now it's not okay for you to look beautiful. And then comes recently Sydney Sweeney, and she has great genes, and they have their own they have their own crisis with their beauty standards. But there is one Western beauty standard that the algorithm has been taught.
Yeah.
And so much data has been uploaded to what works as a beauty standard, which is a Western beauty standard. So the issue is today, if you are an Indian influencer, you are an Arab influencer, and you want to make it, but the algorithm tells you what makes it. So you take you upload a picture, it doesn't work. The algorithm has a definition
of what is
works,
the standard, which
is
not
Western.
Our standard. Okay.
So suddenly you are filtering towards that. You give it time. There's a universal beauty standard that the algorithm knows, and it's dictating it to everyone.
Interesting.
So, and today with filters and plastic surgery, if this is the profile that works, and the algorithm is telling you go there, in 30 years, all women can look the same.
I think few things here I'd like to recap. One,
to me, most Lebanese women are already looking the same.
Let's put it this way. I think it takes back to the same context. Copying things, copying attitude, copying behaviors, copying, I would say, even the way we look at certain topics from, I would say, cultures that are not very much aligned or ours. Not because theirs is not okay. It's because it's good to keep your identity.
We
need
especially
to keep our identity.
The Levant is where cultures came to negotiate with themselves. Call us Phoenicians, Canaaniyin, Palestinian, Mediterranean. Really? Okay?
At the end,
so we know how to integrate culture. And I want to tell you a story that really, to me, is the symbol of how culture needs to be integrated, and how we are the region where cultures came to negotiate with themselves, integrate, takes bits and pieces from different cultures, because this is beautiful cultural integration. This story starts with a person, and we're gonna love this guy. It's called Ziryab.
Okay.
Tell me.
I was going to ask one question. The question I'm going to ask is, you talked about the integration of culture. And we talked about copying other cultures.
Yes.
And that's where I want you to tell me more with the story you shared.
Yes.
Because there is a limit between copying cultures versus the limit of actually, I want to integrate cultures.
You don't copy culture, you integrate. And this is the story of cultural integration.
Yes.
It starts with a man called Ziryab. It's Abbasi ages. He traveled, I think Abbasi ages, we're unsure if he was Iraqi, Persian, Turkey, a very nice mix, super charismatic. Kicked out of Iraq to Egypt, and then to Qurtaba, Andalusia. With him, he had a bag. This bag carried culture. One is oud, and a fifth string. Ziryab introduced the guitar to the rest of the world, to Europe. But not only this, he introduced style, finesse, a new haircut.
Interesting.
1 year after Ziryab entered Andalusia and Qurtuba, every boy and man across the entire Spain, if he is stylish, he will have the Ziryab haircut.
Interesting.
Ziryab had taught all of Europe
Oh.
how to eat a 3-course meal.
Oh.
You start with a soup,
Oh.
fish, and then you end with dessert. Ziryab taught Europe how to eat. 4 things how of a civilized man. Most importantly, he taught them the new guitar.
Oh.
So the new guitar that looked like this traveled with Spanish and Portuguese, but it was integrated from the oud into the guitar, a 5th string, and it looked a bit different.
Interesting.
Beautiful cultural integration, right?
Very good story.
Started
as well.
with the oud. It traveled from with the Spanish and the Portuguese to the Americas. And in Latin America, Argentina, Mexico, it became salsa, it became merengue, it became tango. And then it went up to New Orleans when the Africans, with all their sorrow, they added some electric guitar to it. And then they sang it with the blues and the jazz, the broad. But with it came the African beat from Africa. This evolved to a moment in history when Jimi Hendrix sang it at Lockstock, his amazing solo. Yeah. So beautiful. Then I come to Cairo, 1970. Cairo in 1970, a city that sounded... Kulthum is singing and she is Kawkab al-Sharq.
Yes.
So the sound is as Eastern as it gets.
Yeah.
But when you want to talk romance, is Abdul Halim.
Yeah.
And the romance is as Arabic as it gets. Al-Andalib al-Asmar.
Yes.
And who is orchestrating the music? Abdul Wahab.
Yeah.
Who is the maestro of cultural integration. Every piece is a melody from Qudud Andalusiya, a melody from what's recent.
Yeah.
In comes an electric guitar player called Omar Khorshid. Omar Khorshid is a relative or a cousin of Sharihan. A beautiful mix of Turkey, Egypt, and something. He looks like a character from a French movie. He's been singing, he's been playing the guitar, psychedelic rock, heavy metal, jazz for 5 years. But he wants to play it behind Kulthum. He wants to play it behind Abdul Halim. Crazy. Who will play a Jimi Hendrix solo behind Kulthum?
Yeah.
Look at the integration.
Okay, interesting.
It had Abdul Wahab to compose this. And you should hear Omar Khorshid talking about how anxious he was before playing a Jimi Hendrix solo to Kulthum. He went to the pharmacy to take some pills. And go on YouTube, watch a Jimi Hendrix-like solo behind Kulthum. And this is cultural integration.
I really appreciate sharing
From Aoud coming back to us as an electric guitar being played behind Kulthum. This is cultural integration.
Yeah. I think, let me take away as we're going towards my few last questions, probably. I think the way you took us from where we started, thinking of the element of identity, how it's actually impacting the behavior of consumers, how we need to be conscious about our culture and we make sure we teach it to our children. Globalization is something that is critical, important, but we need to do it with consciousness so we're not losing our identity.
Yes.
Now you brought us to the element of culture, which you've talked about heavily in all your books.
Yeah.
I would say probably the script she never wrote is one of the books where you talked about women. You wrote a few examples now about them. I would really recommend everybody to read that. And the upcoming release that you have, which is called Westernized by the Ad.
Yes.
I got the privilege to read it before it's released. So I say it's a book that talks to mothers and it brings a lot of boost towards our responsibility as women and mothers. And I don't want to just detach men as well. I think because parenting is important.
Yes.
So it's a co-parenting piece. So I'm going to go back to the last piece that you said, integration of culture. You talked about happiness, right? And we're sitting in a place where I think is a melting pot of the integration of cultures, the diversity that happens in the UAE and in Dubai. I think we see a lot. And the happiness that comes out of that is actually connected, in my view at least. So I will ask you maybe 2 questions because you're so passionate about what you've done and you've been able to become one of the spokespeople in this space. We have a lot of people who are listening to us or will be probably watching now that we're having it in the studio. What do you advise to someone who has a lot of passion towards something but is unable to turn it to something impactful? In your way of thinking, the way you came up with your passion, you turned it into books, you turned it into a science. A lot of people struggle. What would be your advice to someone who has passion but unable to know what to do with it?
So it takes me to a beautiful statement by Gibran Khalil. He
Yes.
said, work is love made visible. And if you can't work with love, but only with distaste, it's better you go sit at the gate of the temple and take alms from those who work with love. So you need to work with love. And whatever you do, if you do it with love, you will find yourself upskilling your ability.
Mm-hmm.
And by default, if you are more capable, you will start enjoying it.
Right.
Now, the disaster is not taking a step back, figuring out what is it that you can become good at to enjoy. And that thing can make you formatively happy. The issue is to sit back and worry about your reflective happiness and redefine your formative happiness is something we shy away from.
Mhm.
You know why?
Why?
This brings me back to the same thinker, Daniel Kahneman. He said, thinking to humans is like swimming is to cats. Thinking to human is like swimming is to cats. We can do it, but we'd rather not to.
Not to.
We shy away from reflective thinking.
Mhm.
And it's a survival mechanism.
Mm.
Your brain does not represent much of your body mass index, yani maybe 5%, but when you consume it, it consumes so much energy, up to like 30%.
Yes.
So most humans shy away from reflective thinking, and you leave that to someone who would rather think.
Do it for you.
Today, most humans, 95% of your decisions are made in the unconscious brain. 95%.
Yeah.
You do them thinking fast, thinking with experiential, not thinking with formative. Only 5% of decisions are made with the programmer in mind.
Yeah.
So when we speak programming, 5% of the time you are thinking, I want to program happiness, because you're lazy to think.
Yeah. So what your advice is then, let's make sure that we reflect and we look for things that bring us fulfillment and love and happiness as we do them, because that's when we excel and that's when we grow and continue growing.
Happiness is enjoyment and satisfaction.
So we want to
make sure you do something you enjoy, but it works towards something that you are satisfied with.
And I
enjoyment and satisfaction.
For me, it's more fulfillment in addition to satisfaction, I think. So I like that, what you said. And I want to ask a very interesting question, which I usually ask all my guests. So if you're sitting right now with your younger self in this room, what would you advise Ahmad?
Younger Ahmad? I connect the dots backwards. Yeah. I'll tell him you're very lucky. Good things are coming your way.
That's a very good one. And I think one of the last bonus pieces that I bring is this is a city where was the birthplace of your books, a lot of milestones you achieved in your life, going backwards, I would say. How did Dubai enable your story?
I would have never been able to dare talk about happiness if I'm not in the city of happiness.
That's, I mean, for me, I think obviously that it added happiness to you, to your way of thinking of your career, the impact you're bringing to people around you. So if I ask you to complete this sentence, Dubai witnessed Ahmad Abu Zannad, who is ... What would you say?
Who brought back the true essence of advertising when life is being more manageable, the story of how all of this is coming together and the story of where this is taking us needs to be told through content, stories, and advertising, and content, not only advertising, that is thoughtful, meaningful, and uplifting. And this is what I want to bring to the Dubai story. Better ads, better content that tells our stories meaningfully and in a way that is uplifting.
So looking forward to seeing all this coming from you, I would say. We all want to be happier. We all want to have this uplifting stories around us. And this whole, I would say, series of Dubai Witness is bringing people to shed light on their own stories that inspire others. And I must say that you're someone who did actually inspire me with the books that you have. Everybody can look at the teasers because we mentioned all about your books and we want everybody to get the chance to read them. And particularly if you're a woman or a mother, I would say it is amazing to see how much we can influence the upcoming generation, and we have a responsibility there. So with this amazing insight that we had today with Ahmad Abu Zannad, I'd like to thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to your next book.
Thank you, Aisan.
And looking forward to catching up with you maybe next year again to see what happened in between.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thank you.
This was so much fun.
Likewise.
Thanks.